I still remember the sterile chill of Nexora Technologies' conference room. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, and the air was heavy with feigned corporate sympathy. I, Danielle Carter, sat calmly across from my boss, Lisa Hammond, as if I'd been expecting this moment for years. Beside her, David from HR maintained a carefully neutral expression, while a manila folder sat ominously on the table. "Danielle," Lisa began in a tone that dripped with forced regret, "after careful consideration and a strategic reorganization of our research division, we've decided to move in a new direction." I met her gaze with an unflinching calm. 15 years of unwavering dedication had led me here, and I already knew exactly what they intended to say. David slid the severance package toward me. "Your contributions have been invaluable," he intoned, "but to remain competitive, we must consolidate resources." I reached out and accepted the folder without even opening it. I knew it well. 2 weeks' pay for every year of service, a few months of continued health benefits, and a list of job search resources. The usual consolation prize for someone now deemed obsolete. I exhaled slowly. "I understand," I said, keeping my voice steady. Lisa's smile faltered for just a moment, a sign that she expected anger, maybe even tears. But I was no stranger to this game. At 45, in an industry that worships youth and disruption, I'd seen my fate sealed long before they uttered those words. As I stood and retrieved my company keycard, laptop, and phone, my mind raced. I recalled the countless nights I'd spent perfecting the PulseCore AI, an algorithm that revolutionized data processing with a 47% boost in speed. I had nurtured this technology with every ounce of my being. And then they fired me. Walking past the glass-walled executive suite, I glimpsed CEO Mark Ellison passionately presenting his so-called vision to the board. The irony stung. They were celebrating innovation while discarding the very person who made it possible. I pulled out my personal phone and typed a single fateful message. "It's happening. My last day is Friday." Within seconds, a reply flashed on the screen. "Perfect timing. See you tonight to finalize the plan." A small secret smile crept across my face. They thought firing me was their victory, but they had no idea what was coming. That very evening, I arrived at Vincent's, a quiet, upscale restaurant, far removed from the cold corridors of Nexora. In a secluded booth at the back, I met Gregory Lane, CEO of Titan Innovations, Nexora's fiercest competitor. His eyes sparkled with the thrill of opportunity. "So they finally did it?" he asked, a wry smirk playing on his lips. I shook my head slowly. "They thought they were being clever. They pushed me out just before securing the patent for the enhancements I made to the Nexus AI optimization engine." His eyebrows arched in disbelief. "You're kidding." "Not at all," I said, sliding my tablet across the table. On the screen were the documents I needed them to see. They assumed the work I did on the engine was covered by my employment contract. What they didn't realize is that the final refinements, those improvements that boosted processing speeds by 47%, were developed entirely on my own time, on my own equipment. I filed the patent 3 months ago, and it was approved just last week. Gregory let out a low whistle. "So the very technology that Nexora built its flagship product on now legally belongs to you?" I nodded. "And Titan is prepared to make it the cornerstone of our next-generation solutions." He slid a thick contract folder toward me. "Here's our proposal. Become Titan Innovations' new Chief Technology Officer, and we'll secure exclusive licensing rights to your algorithm. You'll receive a 7-figure signing bonus, a substantial equity stake, and royalties on every Titan product that uses your technology." I carefully reviewed the paperwork, though I already knew every term by heart. I signed my name without hesitation. "Consider it done," I said coolly. The rest of that week passed in a blur of meticulously planned exit interviews, polite farewells, and the sting of corporate hypocrisy. Whispers of my departure began to ripple through the halls of Nexora. while I handed off my projects with serene professionalism. Behind the scenes, they were scrambling to cover up their miscalculation. By Friday afternoon, I sat with Denise from HR as she recited the standard exit script. "You understand that any intellectual property developed during your employment remains Nexora's property," she stated as she slid a non-disclosure agreement toward me. I smiled thinly. Of course, anything created on company time, using company resources, absolutely. She didn't notice the inflection in my voice when I thought of the one crucial exception, the algorithm that was solely my creation. At that moment, as I packed up my office, Mark Ellison appeared at my doorway. Leaning casually against the frame, he smirked. "No hard feelings, Danielle. Business is business, right?" I returned the smirk with one of my own. "You're absolutely right. What's next for you? Taking some time off?" He chuckled. "I'll be around." I merely nodded, the weight of the next step already resting on my shoulders. I walked out of Nexora's sleek glass headquarters, leaving behind 15 years of dedication, innovation, and the theft of my intellectual property. I wasn't walking away empty-handed. I was stepping into a future that I had already secured. Monday morning arrived crisp and clear. Titan Innovations had arranged for a sleek black sedan to pick me up. As I stepped out of the car, I took a deep breath and entered their glass and steel headquarters with renewed purpose. At 9:15 a.m., my phone buzzed with a message from Nate, my former lead engineer at Nexora. "Complete chaos here. What did you do?" A small smile tugged at the corner of my lips. I had done exactly what needed to be done. At 8 a.m. sharp that day, Titan Innovations had issued a public statement. Titan Innovations secures exclusive rights to revolutionary data processing technology. We proudly welcome Danielle Carter as our new Chief Technology Officer. The statement set the industry ablaze. Within minutes, news outlets began running headlines such as "Nexora's core technology crisis, fired veteran engineers' patent sparks rival coup." Meanwhile, at Nexora, Mark Ellison's panic was palpable. By 9:30 a.m., their legal team was poring over internal records, trying to comprehend how they had allowed the technology to slip through their fingers. At 10 a.m., I received an email from Mark himself, sounding desperate. "Danielle, there seems to be some confusion. Please call me ASAP so we can discuss this." I forwarded the email immediately to Titan's legal department. I wasn't about to play their game. Shortly thereafter, Nate messaged again. "Two senior engineers just resigned. The board is panicking. They're scrambling to rebuild without you." I sipped my coffee, gazing out at the skyline. I had given them the chance to keep me, a chance they squandered. Now they were paying the price for their short-sightedness. By Tuesday morning, the full ramifications of my departure had hit Nexora. Their flagship product, PulseCore AI, was now in jeopardy. Without my algorithm, their competitive edge was crumbling. Major enterprise clients, once loyal, began reaching out with concerns. Vanguard Systems and Omnitech, two of Nexora's key accounts, were already flirting with the idea of switching to Titan's platform. At 8 a.m. on Tuesday, another message from Nate flashed on my phone. "Ellison just called an emergency all-hands meeting. The board is in chaos." I could barely suppress a chuckle. They had underestimated the value of my expertise. It had taken me 3 long years to perfect the algorithm. Years filled with painstaking research and countless sleepless nights. They were grasping at straws. By 10:45 a.m., an email from Nexora's interim CEO, Richard Donovan, arrived on my Titan-issued tablet. Subject: congratulations and next steps. Dear Dr. Carter, congratulations on your new role at Titan Innovations. Given recent developments, Nexora would like to discuss a fair licensing arrangement for your patented technology. We are prepared to publicly acknowledge your contributions and rectify our past oversights. Please let me know your availability next week for a formal discussion. Best regards, Richard Donovan, Interim CEO, Nexora. I forwarded the email to Titan's legal team with a simple note, Phase 1 complete. Within minutes, I received a follow-up message from Gregory Lane. Beautifully executed. Let's strategize this afternoon. It was clear. Nexora's desperate scramble had begun. Their stock had already dropped 14% since Monday, and investors were clamoring for answers. I had not only secured my future, but had now forced Nexora into a corner. On Friday morning, with my departure from Nexora now official, I prepared for one final symbolic act of retribution. I sat in the executive boardroom of Titan Innovations, reviewing the latest industry updates, when another message from Nate appeared. Ellison just stepped down. Nexora's board forced his resignation this morning. Lisa Hammond is gone too. A sense of satisfaction and vindication washed over me. I had predicted this outcome, but witnessing it unfold was still deeply gratifying. Nexora had gambled by pushing me out, and they had lost everything. I began drafting the final licensing terms. Our conditions were firm. Licensing fees at 3 times the standard industry rate. A public acknowledgement declaring me as the sole inventor of the technology. Gregory looked over the proposal with a sly grin. I suspect Mark's ego will fight tooth and nail against the public acknowledgement clause. I smiled in response. Then let them fight. Their pride is their downfall. Later that day, in a board meeting at Nexora, now in full crisis mode, industry analysts were already speculating on the algorithm crisis. Headlines blared across financial news channels. Nexora's core IP lost, a cautionary tale of corporate hubris, and Titan Innovations, strategic coup, how a fired engineer changed the game. By the time noon rolled around, 2 major enterprise clients had formally notified Nexora that they would be terminating their contracts unless a viable solution was reached. Nexora's legal team scrambled, but I knew that the damage was irreversible. That evening, as I sat in my new Titan office, a modern space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, I reflected on everything that had transpired. My phone buzzed with one final update, an email from Richard Donovan proposing a settlement. I forwarded it to our legal team with the simple note, "They're on the ropes." I leaned back in my chair, savoring the quiet. They had underestimated me. They had dismissed 15 years of dedication as obsolete, but now they were paying the price for their short-sightedness. By the following Monday, I would step into Titan Innovations as the new Chief Technology Officer. The industry was already abuzz with news of Nexora's spiraling crisis, and the tide of clients was turning in our favor. My departure from Nexora was not a setback. It was a strategic victory. I had taken the humiliation, the betrayal, and the unfair dismissal, and turned it into an opportunity to prove my worth on my own terms. In my Titan office, I received a text from Nate, the voice of reason from my past at Nexora. "Danielle, you were right all along. They never understood the value of true innovation until it was too late." I smiled to myself. True success is not measured by the accolades you receive from those who never appreciated you. It's measured by the undeniable impact you have on your industry. And as I prepared for my first day at Titan Innovations, I reflected on the journey. For years, I had been undervalued by a company that worshipped youth and dismissed experience. They fired me with the expectation that I would crumble in defeat. Instead, I channeled that betrayal into fuel for a comeback that would reshape the industry. I secured the rights to my own groundbreaking technology, and I aligned with a competitor that recognized my true worth. Now, not only was I stepping into a leadership role, but I was also setting a precedent. Never allow anyone to underestimate your contributions. My story serves as a powerful lesson. If a company refuses to see your value, do not waste your talent fighting for scraps. Create your own opportunity. I walked out of Nexora's headquarters that day, not with bitterness, but with a quiet confidence. a resolve that my future was now in my hands. I sat in my new corner office at Titan Innovations, looking out over the city skyline as I prepared to outline the next phase of our strategy. The world of technology was ever-changing, and with the exclusive rights to PulseCore AI under our belt, Titan Innovations was poised to lead the next wave of enterprise solutions. Every email, every board meeting, and every investor call that followed was a reminder of the price Nexora paid for their hubris. Their stocks plummeted, senior engineers resigned, and within days, they were left scrambling for answers. Meanwhile, Titan's valuations soared, and our new product launches set the market ablaze with excitement. I took a deep breath and sent a final email to our legal team. Let's finalize the licensing terms and prepare for the next phase. It's time to turn this victory into long-term success. As I looked back on the turbulent weeks that had reshaped my career, I felt a profound sense of vindication. I was no longer just an employee who had been cast aside by an outdated corporate structure. I was a trailblazer, a visionary who had harnessed the very moment of rejection to build a future where my ideas, my innovation, and my relentless dedication would be celebrated. And as the industry buzzed with talk of Danielle Carter's coup, I knew one thing for certain. Mark Ellison and the rest of Nexora had made a mistake they would come to regret. They had fired me, thinking it would silence the voice of experience. Instead, I had transformed that moment into a revolution, a testament to the fact that true innovation and resilience can never be bought, dismissed, or fired away. I closed my eyes for a moment, letting the significance of it all sink in. My journey had been fraught with betrayal, heartbreak, and corporate treachery, but it had also been the catalyst for a comeback that would redefine the technology landscape. My story wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my destiny, proving that loyalty must be earned, and that the most valuable assets in any company are the people who build it. In that quiet moment, as I prepared to step into my new role and lead Titan Innovations into a bold future, I whispered to myself, "Success is the sweetest revenge, and wisdom lies in knowing when to seize your opportunity." Have you ever been underestimated or betrayed in your career? Share your story in the comments below. And remember, if they refuse to see your value, build a future where your brilliance shines on its own. Danielle Carter's journey reminds us that every setback is a setup for a greater comeback. If you enjoy deep, emotional, and meaningful stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new update. Your support is the motivation that drives us to keep bringing you powerful stories. Once again, thank you for being here, and see you in the next story.